Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dig into a framework that really, truly shifts how you might think about what it means to develop a leader. It's all about the difference between horizontal and vertical growth. And trust me, getting your head around this is a total game changer. So let's dive right in.
You know the drill, right? We've all been there. You send your managers off to some leadership training weekend. They come back with this big, heavy binder, maybe a few new buzzwords, but then a month goes by and, well, nothing's really changed, has it? It's such a common frustration. And what we're talking about today gets to the very heart of why that keeps happening.
All right, so let's break this down. Why do so many of these really well-intentioned, often expensive training programs just fall short? Well, it turns out they're usually missing a really key ingredient, especially for leading in the kind of complex world we're all dealing with now. See, here's the thing. Most training is laser-focused on what a leader knows. You know, their technical skills, their specific competencies. And look, that stuff is absolutely essential, but it often completely ignores the other, and you could argue, more critical side of the coin, a leader's actual capacity to think, to adapt, and to make sense of all that complexity.
So let's start with the first dimension, the one we're all pretty familiar with. This is what we call horizontal growth. It's really the bread and butter of most corporate training programs out there. Horizontal development is all about broadening what you can do. The easiest way to think about it is like you're adding new tools to your toolbox. The whole goal is just to get more knowledge, learn more skills, and gain more specific competencies to handle different kinds of tasks.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, learning a new piece of project management software, that's a new tool. Taking a public speaking course, yep, another tool. Getting a PMP certification, you're adding a very specific, very valuable tool to your toolbox. It's all about accumulating more, but as you're probably guessing, that's not the whole picture. Okay, so if horizontal growth is all about adding more tools, what's the missing piece? This, right here, is the game changer. It's called vertical growth. And this is where the real, lasting transformation actually begins.
So, vertical development isn't about adding more tools to the toolbox. Nope, it's about building a bigger workshop. It's the process of upgrading your own internal operating system, so to speak. It's about expanding your perspective so you can see the world and all its messy problems in more sophisticated and more nuanced ways.
Just look at this comparison for a second. It makes it so clear. Horizontal growth is about competency. It's about what you know. But vertical growth is about capacity. It's all about how you think. And I absolutely love this cup analogy. Horizontal is just pouring more information into the cup you already have. Vertical is about making the cup itself bigger so it can hold more nuance, more ambiguity, and a much, much broader perspective.
Now, this is so important. This is not an either-or choice. You don't just pick one. You don't choose between adding tools or building a bigger workshop. The absolute most effective leaders are the ones who integrate both. And this is how it all works together in what's called the growth flywheel. It starts with horizontal growth. Step one, you learn a new skill. But then, and this is key, instead of just putting that new tool away in your toolbox, you immediately apply it to a complex, messy, real-world problem. And that struggle, that process of applying it, that forces you to expand your perspective just to deal with it. That is vertical growth. And once your mind has expanded like that, you're ready to handle even greater complexity down the road. They feed each other. Okay, so this model is fantastic. It's powerful. But so what? What does this actually mean in practice? How do we start building this kind of leadership pipeline in our own organizations?
Really, it all comes down to this. We have to stop thinking of leadership development as just a series of training classes. The real goal is to design a leadership pipeline that intentionally, purposefully integrates both. We give people new skills, sure, but then we have to immediately put them into situations with tough challenges that force them to grow their perspective in order to even use those new skills effectively.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about, whether it's for your own personal growth or for how you're developing leaders around you. Are you just focused on adding more tools to the toolbox? Or are you consciously creating the experiences, the challenges, that actually build a bigger workshop? The answer to that question might just be the difference between simply managing and truly leading. Thanks for tuning in.